Hello friends, welcome to GeoEdu channel exploring geological knowledge. With the continuation of the magma series, today we will discuss about the evolution of magma. The two main processes that are responsible for the evolution of magma are differentiation and assimilation. First, we will study about differentiation. In differentiation, as you can see in the picture, there are different varieties of rock which consist of which ranges from ultramafic to felsic. In this picture, you can see the mafic rocks like basalt and gabbro, which consist of ferromagnesian minerals consisting of iron and magnesium, and also there are felsic rock which consist of silicic minerals like quartz, alkali feldspar. So why this type of rocks comes into picture? Why there is not only one rock, and is there a different type variety of magmas present underneath the earth, or there are one variety of magma getting evolved and give rise to different type of magma, and in turn this different type of magma give rise to different type of rocks. The second is true actually. What is written here? Extremely diverse composition of igneous rock is the evidence for differentiation. This diversification can be seen in separate intrusions, extrusions, or in a single rock. So the diversion of rocks we can found in single intrusion, extrusion, or a single rock. Even if in single rock we can found different minerals composed of different parts of the rock. So there is chemically different parts of the rock. Earlier it was believed that large variety of magmatic sources are there, but experimental study of Bowen suggested that there are only fewer primary magmas which give rise to secondary magmas or derivative magmas, which in turn give rise to diversification of magma. So what are primary magmas? Primary magmas are those that are formed by partial or complete melting of the source rock at depth. So primary magmas are those which when a rock melts, suppose in lower crust or in mantle, when a rock melts, the first formed magma is known as primary magmas, and in condition the partial melting of mantle source is mostly responsible for the large variation of igneous rock. Compositional variation in source, degree or nature of melting, and pressure temperature conditions of the melting. What is partial melting? Partial melting, also referred to as partial fusion or anastasis, the process by which melt is produced in proportion less than the whole rock. So when a rock not completely melted, only a small portion or a considerable portion of the rock gets melted, it is known as partial melting. Then there are two models of partial melting: equilibrium melting and fractional melting. In case of equilibrium melting, the melt continuously have equilibrium relation with the solid rock. So there until the liquid is gets separated by external forces. So this is equilibrium melting. And fractional melting is that when the melt is continuously removed from the solid, means if it is not removed but still there is no relation, means no reaction relation between the melt and solid. So this is partial melting. Same as crystallization process, also we can found same procedure like equilibrium crystallization and fractional crystallization. In case of equilibrium crystallization, the crystals produced that are remains in equilibrium reaction with the melt. But in case of fractional crystallization, the fraction of the crystal fraction gets separated from the melt, and means there is no relation between melt and crystal, but they may be remain together, means crystal melt will be there, but there will be no reaction relation between these two. So in fluid stage of magma, mechanism of magmatic differentiation are liquid immiscibility, liquid fractionation, and movement of volatiles. So when magma is in fluid stage, three processes are mainly responsible for the differentiation of magma. These are liquid immiscibility, liquid fractionation, and movement of volatiles. What is liquid immiscibility? Liquid immiscibility is where liquids don't mix with each other. We are familiar with the phenomena oil and water. When we put drop of oils in the oil in water, it does not mix with the mix together. Although at high temperature we can see that they will mix together, but when at normal temperature or at low temperature they will get make separate phases. So the phases with a lower quantity, the phases with lower quantity separated as bubbles, droplets, and liquid immiscibility takes place at a very small compositional range, and it is very limited petrological significance. Means liquid immiscibility we can find it have very low significance in case of differentiation. Means we can find only in case of basalt, or we can find some amount of amygdal parts will be there, and in some other rocks also we can find, but that is not that much responsible that it can affect the whole composition. It affects, but in small amount, not in a greater amount. So common immiscible fractions are silicate carbonate, silicate sulfide, and silicate water. What are the petrological evidence of liquid immiscibility? Amygdal bodies, as I have told already, and amygdal bodies rich in iron and silica in some trachy basalt, and such globular structures in diorite are due to liquid immiscibility. Silica rich potassic granite in high iron silicate liquid equivalent to pyroxenite in lunar rocks also recorded. And the global association of rhyolites and basalt in volcanic rocks suggests that two immiscible liquids of felsic and mafic composition have been erupted from a magma of intermediate composition. Experimental as well as petrological observations suggested that immiscibility of sulfide oxide, sulfide silicate, the latter is explained as the deposition of sulfide minerals from soda granite in Singhbhum copper belt. So as we know, the intrusion of arcasonic soda granite in Singhbhum shear zone is responsible for the copper mineralization, and the copper mineralization is mainly in sulfide phase. So the soda granite is responsible the copper mineralization, as said by Dawn. And separation of carbonate phases from mafic alkaline magmas has been demonstrated experimentally by Gross and Wiley in 1966. Then liquid fractionation we can describe about thermal diffusion. What is thermal diffusion? Thermal diffusion is a simple process where means in a magma chamber there is suppose in a magma chamber the whole chamber will not cool together, means at simultaneously. There is a part, means there will be core. The core will be more hotter, and towards the wall rock it will be the hotness will be lower. So what happens where the lower the in case of lower there in case of cooler region there will be more concentration of elements than in comparison to the hotter region. That is the principle what that is written here. Also we can found the chemical elements due to thermal gradient. Also electrical gradients, also pressure and electrical gradients also reported. Sauret's principle said that when two parts of a solution are different temperatures, the higher concentration of dissolved elements are the part which is cooler. So this is effective in both horizontal and vertical gradient. Means suppose a column of magma, suppose the lower part is hotter and the upper part is cooler, so the more concentration will be in cooler part. And suppose in a horizontal magma, there will be, suppose this is the core region, and this word will be towards contact wall. So this here will be less concentration, and here in the cooler region there will be more concentration. That is the principle. So, however, the diffusibility can be increased by increase in temperature and addition of water. So, what Bowen experimented that the thermal diffusion in silicate melt is much slower than cooling. Means what he is saying that um, in case of silicate magma, when the elements migrates toward the cooler region, before that the rock gets solidified. So they did not get any chance to migrate there and get concentrated there. What Pawens found actually. But in case of natural magma, what happens? The increase in temperature, addition of water, the increase in temperature and addition of water actually increases the diffusibility. Means when we put there is more water content, or there is more temperature, so there will be more chances to the elements get concentrated at a cooler region and than the hotter region. Then gravitational diffusion. Gravitational diffusion is a simple thing, means also known as the density stratification. Separation or stratification elements in the homogeneous magma under the influence of gravity. So the elements which are higher in atomic weight will be at the bottom, and the lighter element will be at the top. So Hall in 1973 suggested that the upper part of the dry magma column is enriched with K2O, Na2O, SiO2, and the bottom part will be FeO, CaO, MgO, and TaO. These K2O, Na2O, SiO2 are lighter elements, and these are heavier elements. So this is the principle, simple principle. In common differential also, we found felsic rocks at top and mafic rocks at the bottom. So when we study a rock column, we also found this type of stratification. Means the felsic rocks will be at the top, and the mafic rocks will be at the bottom, because mafic rocks have high density and felsic rocks have low density. Addition of water, however, changes the characteristic. Water plays a very important role in all the processes. So addition of water, however, changes the characteristic of the magma by producing density, and hence by reducing density, and hence increasing the diffusive property. Then movement of volatiles. Differential movement of volatiles in magma column causes magmatic differentiation known as volatile transfer. The process continues till the late magmatic stage. For example, second boiling condition attained by acidic magma responsible for the formation of pegmatites. Upward migration of volatile constituent is termed as gaseous transfer and volatile steaming. Differentiation caused due to migration of H2O, P2O5, CO2, etc. The process is connected with various metallic ore deposit. So when the volatiles get transferred to one place to another place, because of that also means the elements get get differentiated. So it also causes the differentiation of the rock. Then fractional crystallization is the key mechanism where solid phases are involved. Solid phases, when there as I have discussed all these three processes, these are the processes where magma is in fluid stage, completely in fluid stage. But when the crystal started to crystallize inside the magma, so there are other processes like gravity settling, filter pressing, flowage of magma, crystal zonations. These plays important role there. So what is fractional crystallization? The term fractionation termed as sense of differentiation or chemical evolution of magma. Crystal fractionation is mechanical separation of early formed crystals or permocast from the rest of the magma through some mechanism. Fractionation also used in terms of element distribution or partitioning of elements within a group of rocks having genetic relationship. Fractionation of elements also there, but that will be in geochemistry. Also we can also I have told this type of fractionation of elements, partitioning of elements before in liquid stage. So here no need to discuss this type of so here we will discuss gravity crystal fractionation. Gravity settling is a simple thing when the crystals of higher density goes downward and crystals of lower density goes upward. Means what happens actually, first the minerals with the low higher density crystallizes fast like olivine, so it will settle at the bottom. It involves sinking, floating, suspension of early formed crystals known as permocast within the magma. Factor responsible for this is density difference between crystal and melt. Actually, what happened? The common rock forming minerals have a higher density than the corresponding melt. The melt have generally have means as we know the melt have generally lower density than that of solid. So the solid when magma solidifies, the solid fraction gets settled downward. In mafic magma, the first mineral to be settled down is olivine, followed by augite and plagioclase. This is a series. You have to remember, olivine first will be settled, then augite, then plagioclase. This is on the basis of density only. Equilibrium crystallization get affected because of separation of early permocast, and the settling rate of felsic magma is lower than that of mafic magma, because felsic magma have higher viscosity. So what happened in case of felsic magma, the crystals settle slowly because of its higher density, higher viscosity. But in case of basaltic magma or in case of mafic magma, what happens? The crystals settles very fast, because basaltic magma is more fluid, means more the viscosity is very less. Iron titanium oxide is associated with the anorthosite and anorthositic gabbro believed to be formed by this process, garbage settling. So then filter pressing. Mechanical separation of coexisting magma from the crystal mesh is known this is the mechanism. Means what happens when crystal crystallizes, it continuously form a mesh like this. Suppose here is a mesh, and there are interstices which are filled with water. These are interstices. When the crystal mesh got pressed by some external forces, like the suppose one external forces are there, forces applied on this magma chamber. So what happens? The liquid gets squeezed and forms separate phase. So what happened? What written here? At the advanced stage of crystallization, the crystal forms continuous mesh having residual melt. When the crystal melt mesh come across any stress field, the residual melt squeezed out and moves towards the direction of lower pressure. Effective in middle and late stage of crystallization, explains origin of some monomineralic rocks like dunite, anorthosite, because of their deformational history. Interstitial quartz feldspar aggregate observed in marginal part of newer dolerite in Singhbum granite. So this is the example, micropegmatite in newer dolerite in Singhbum granite is the example of filter pressing process. Then flowage differentiation. When magma flows through a pipe or narrow channel, flowage behavior changes from the contact zone. The suspended crystals tend to accumulate at the zone of higher velocity away from the contact zone. The shear stress developed near the contact wall pushes the phenocrust hence concentrated near central conduit. Concentration of olivine enstatite to form Hatzbergite at the central part of the dolerite dike of Singhbum granite is an example. So in this case what happens, when magma flows through a pipe or suppose in a channel, the central part will be obviously the higher higher velocity, because of the part that are contact with the wall have lower density, lower velocity, because of the shear stress, shear friction with the contact wall. So because of this stress, these crystals gets concentrated at the central part, not at the not towards the contact zone. Next, selective nucleation. Localization of crystal near the contact walls. This is the just opposite process. Sometimes what happen, the near contact walls, this is a type of congelation cumulation, and the texture is known as crash-cumulate texture, where elongate olivine and plagioclase crystals oriented perpendicular to the wall, reverse graded. Usually we can found reverse grading in this case of this case type of selective nucleation. So what we have to remember, crash cumulate texture and reverse graded. So what happened in this type of in case suppose this is a magma column, as you can see the crystals tends to concentrated near to the contact wall. This is the process here, and we can see reverse grading, means near the contact wall you can fine grain, then more larger grain, and here also same principle somewhat applies, the before principle. Then convective fractionation. Convective cells may develop inside the chamber due to the thermal and compositional gradient. The roof of the partially melted partially thermally sealed by congelation cumulation, and when convection starts, the crystals removed and fresh magma occupies the place. As crystallization starts within the magma body, the liquid layer in the contact with crystal suffers not only change in composition but change in density. For example, if from a basaltic magma dense mafic silicates crystallize olivine and pyroxene, the residual magma will be lighter and move upward, and for the same magma, if plagioclase crystallizes, the magma will sink below. So what it is saying? It is saying that in magma chamber, convective cells will be there because of density difference as well as thermal gradient. So what happens? We can take example. It will be better to understand. When a basaltic magma, from the basaltic magma, dense mafic silicates, means suppose olivine and pyroxene will crystallize. So from the magma have lower density, and olivine and pyroxene will have higher density. So what happened? The magma will rise. But in the same magma, when plagioclase crystallizes, the magma will sink below, because plagioclase have lower density than the corresponding magma. Next, crystal zoning. When equilibrium crystallization get disturbed, zone crystal form. For example, calcic plagioclase zoned by sodic plagioclase. As the zoned rims separate the core crystal from the melt, the magma get differentiated. So what it is saying, you can see the picture of zoned crystal. It is a good crystal of plagioclase, you can see here, and here it have given what how it is the zone crystal forms. Actually when the equilibrium crystallization disturbed, zone crystal forms, because in case of equilibrium crystallization both crystal formed at the same rate, but here what happens, one crystal forms and another crystal formed as rims. So suppose one crystal is like this and another mineral will be like this as a rim. So what happened, suppose this one calcic plagioclase and this one magma chamber. So what the calcic plagioclase have no relation with the magma chamber because of the rim of the sodic plagioclase. So there will be no equilibrium reaction, and there if this type of phenomena occur in a large scale, so what happens, the magma and the calcic plagioclase get differentiated automatically. This is crystal zoning. These are the processes which are responsible for the differentiation of magma. In the next video we will discuss about the assimilation of magma. So stay tuned and please subscribe my channel, GeoEdu Exploring Geological Knowledge.